Greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast, where art and culture meets activism. In today's episode, ever wondered what it takes to rock the entertainment scene for over 20 years? Well, we have the inside scoop on a true legend. Jason Cumberbatch, one of the original members of Basement Knockers, DC Carnival Experience, and the founder of BK Entertainment, is spilling the tea on the AlonzoBash Podcast. From La Vida Soca to Amnesia boat cruises, just to name a few, Jason and his team been serving up some of the hottest events in the Washington, D.C. market. But here's the kicker. He's about to reveal the untapped potential of Caribbean entertainment and squash the myth that promoters can't collaborate. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. It's all about passion, unity, and taking the culture to new heights. Tune in now and get ready to be inspired by a true entertainment icon. AlonzoBash Podcast starts now.
Greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast. I'm your host, AlonzoBash, and tonight's special guest is I will call him one of the legends in the DMV, man. One of the biggest, well, one of the biggest promoters in the DMV. Been doing it for a number of years, and of course, so much to talk about. I'm so excited to have him here tonight. The big man himself, Mr. Jason Cumberbatch with BK Entertainment. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
What's going on, boss?
Good. I haven't seen you in a minute. So, good to be here talking to you.
Hey, outside expensive, man. Trying to maintain.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure. Well, I meant to ask you though, how long have you been in the promotion business? I know it had to be at least 20 years.
So, I would say, about next year actually would be 20 years officially.
Officially.
Quick backstory. Started doing events as part of a group, Basement Knockers, now BK Entertainment, out of Howard. And it was just me with a group of guys from engineering. We were all very much so into music and audio equipment and sound and stuff like that. And, just started doing basement parties in a couple of our friends' basements, so that's hence the Basement Knockers name came from.
Okay.
Because we used to be rocking the basements, a lot. From there, doing events for the Howard University community and, the rest of the Caribbean diaspora, evolved into starting on my own DC Carnival Experience with some other key folks in the DMV, and just been rocking those two things side by side since actually.
All right, 2006. All right, before we get into all that meaty gritty, I want to kind of step back from the early days of Jason. So you were born and raised where exactly? I don't want to presume, but I've messed up in the past. So I was going to ask people directly, were you
born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago, West Trinidad, actually I'm originally from St. James de Martin area. But spent most of my teenage years and adult years in Trin City.
Okay.
So high school years, high school and So east, but I have family all over Trinidad. I've lived in the west, in the east, central. So I've always bounced around. So one of the good things with me is that I used to party everywhere.
Okay.
So party in the west, party in the east. I used to go down south, Chaguana. I was one of those. I used to knock about all that.
Okay, nice. All right, so you pretty much, like you said, grew up, I would say, East Corridor, West Corridor. What was your schooling like in them early years?
High school I went to Fatima College. Was around a lot of good friends, the usual thing, football, basketball, get in trouble, partying, the usual things, guys would get into, at that age. But I left Trinidad at the age of 17, going on 18.
Okay.
To Maryland. And started working a little bit, and I eventually went off to college. And has been here ever since. A lot of my family is here. started planting roots here. I've been here, went to Howard University,
Yeah.
Started, a love for, events, and people think that I'm an introvert. I like to see people have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm not one for the forefront, but always like to see people have a good time. That's something very near and dear to me, very nostalgic, because I had really good party years when I was at home.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is giving folks an experience, whether you're from Trinidad or Jamaica or any other part of the Caribbean, anything that is Caribbean diaspora oriented, from events, parties, fetes, to festivals, anything that takes you away, takes you on a journey or escape into that Caribbean cultural essence
Yeah.
that we all miss.
Yes. I meant to ask you, do you have any what was the family structure like growing up? You had siblings, brothers and sisters, your mom and dad and so forth. Obviously, you had a mother and father, but what were their backgrounds like?
Actually, my dad he's working on a cruise ship, and he was very much so into the travel the world.
Yeah.
In his early years, was his nickname was Smiley. He's a smiler a lot. So
Okay.
put a smile on people's face. So and he was a part of that. He was a Carnival baby. He never missed Carnival. He played Chupe, Jab every year till he couldn't.
Yeah.
My mother, on the other hand, is complete opposite. From the country, raised family, homemaker. So I come from a very humble family background, older siblings, and my dad's side of the family is really big. He has a lot of siblings.
Okay.
My mom's side is even more. So I have a lot of aunts and uncles, cousins.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to party with them a lot as
Yeah.
well. Home. So very, on my mom's side is as I said, more country. So they're from Arima,
Okay.
on the east
Nice
side.
kid.
Yeah. And my dad's side is St. James, Diego Martin area. Cumberbatch is actually Bayesian.
Okay.
So I have Bayesian roots through my grandfather. He actually had 13 siblings.
Wow.
Yeah. So all the Cumberbatch in Trinidad are all related.
Nice.
All related. Big family,
Yeah.
and just for me, getting into events was how I grew up as well. So we used to have a lot of lines at the house,
Yeah.
a lot of cooking, and I would say I'm a very, well and able cook. So, my sister and a lot of my aunts and stuff at home used to do catering.
You seen you a big time cook?
Yeah. Well, actually, in the earlys when I started doing events,
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of the food.
Really?
People don't know that. So I used to do the corn soup.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah. Different soup and somebody, as I say, the cutters that you will enjoy after the fete and so forth. Yeah. So I used to cook a lot of that stuff and after a lot of the fetes and out at Clubhouse and down at Howard. I had my hand in everything. So yeah. I try to be, touch on everything, as I say, it's full experience.
Full experience. All right. Nice. All right, so let's talk about Basement Knuckles again. Yourself and a group of fellow associates or whatnot created the group Basement Knuckles, and then eventually you pretty much stepped out on your own and created BK Entertainment. That's what happened.
Yeah. So at Howard, as I said, as I say, idle hands. You usually try not to get into trouble, but we used to. A lot of us were, as I say, in engineering, into sound and DJing and stuff like that. So we, as a form of a release, we used to do these basement parties. Again, I used to come and cook. I was one of the cooks, one of the main cooks. We had 2 DJs in the group. We had a sound man. I used to kind of just one of the ones that used to put stuff together. After leaving Howard, I kind of initiated wanting to get a little bit serious with it because I kind of saw the need in the DMV
Yes.
to, you know, bring a certain level of, entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there just wasn't anything for, especially the college kids or the young kids, because at that time, the club scene was very different than how it is now. It's very big,
You're talking about early 90s, mid-90s, sometime around there?
early 2000s.
Want a chance to win a free sunset cruise? Here's how. This June, Floating Needs is celebrating both Caribbean American Heritage Month and Pride Month with an amazing offer. Simply snap a pic of yourself waving your Caribbean country flag or pride flag and email it to relax@floatingneeds.com. You'll instantly receive a unique 15% discount code valid on all our services throughout June. But wait, it gets better. Book any service with your discount code and you're automatically entered to win a complimentary 2-hour Be Well boat sunset cruise. Choose any day between July and September. Show your pride or wreck your island flag, save money, and possibly cruise into the sunset, all with one simple photo. www.floatingneeds.com. Click Events for details.
Shipping nightmares? Not anymore. Let me spill the tea on stress-free international shipping. Jay's Hassle-Free International is the game changer you've been waiting for. Air, ocean, Caribbean, Dominican Republic. They've got it all covered. And those special rates? Absolutely amazing. Full container or just a corner, their prices will make your wallet do a happy dance. No more headaches over complicated shipping. Just call the shipper lady at 443-927-5816 and watch your worries vanish. Trust me, once you try Jay's Hassle-Free International, you'll wonder how you ever lived without them. Wave goodbye to shipping stress and hello to smooth sailing. Serving Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the DMV. Remember that number, 443-927-5816. Your stress-free shipping journey starts now.
Back then was a whole mega club thing. And there was no necessarily like they would say, reggae night.
Yeah.
And the reggae night was just playing a couple of reggae songs that was, on the radio. Obviously no soca. So, we used to try to fill that gap. Like I said, I used to do a lot of events, on campus, then at the clubhouse, Trinidad Tobago Association clubhouse.
Yeah.
Used to, that was a way for us to be able to really get that piece of essence of Trinidad or the Caribbean, because we playing for everybody, just to pass with everybody. And, after a while, a lot of the guys, after graduating, everybody kind of moved on,
Right.
And I, kind of picked up the mantle and actually myself, and you would know him affectionately as Kid Mix.
Yeah.
Less than I would, if not the only two original members of Basement Knockers still here in the city. So he was one of the original founders and one of the main DJs for the group.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah. So last time I go way back. He went to Harvard with me as well too. I ended up just kind of taking the group and really just formalizing stuff and kind of repackaging it and and came back with BK Entertainment. And continue doing events, partnering, had a band on the road. I used to participate in what was
Wait, you had a band on the road? Yeah.
I had a band on the road up until the parade, was stopped. I had a band on the road, and it was a year or two before that stopped that I kind of wanted to take things on a much bigger level in the city, and myself and two other, I would say, pioneers in the city at the time, which was Knock Boys and Caribbean United, that's Arthur and Robert.
Yes.
And we again came together and, kind of saw the need for, just another higher level of entertainment in the city, and at that time, I'm the young buck, as they say, so this is...
You brought that young flair to it.
Yeah. So, we started DC Carnival Experience, just as the name says it. It was geared to giving folks here an experience of carnival, an experience of Caribbean culture. It
But before you move forward here, because I want you to get an image and a proper timeline. So when you guys created DC Carnival Experience, obviously that was created around the DC Carnival um activity, events around Carnival time, right?
Yeah, so at the time that was let me give you a little timeline. That was in and around 2012.
Okay.
2012, yeah, 2011, 2012, just before the parade, this carnival parade went away.
Yes.
Actually, I think it was actually 2010. Between 2010 and 2011, that's when DC Carnival experienced the group, when we came together. Because at that time, I was working with Tribe, doing Tribe Ignite in the city here. Knock Boys had their all white glow event. Chiwa Robert had his Islands in the Sun. And back then too, there was Taboo, which was Gresham events. So we all, again, alumni from Howard and the universities in the area, and we just kind of came together and let's kind of package all the events. So we started kind of packaging the events and came up with putting together that's what we call it, DC Carnival Experience. To be able to put together an experience for folks, which started more or less like in the middle of June, somewhere in the middle of June. The whole Carnival Experience started with Chiwa's event, Islands in the Sun.
Yeah.
And then we had a little break, and then, the week of the actual DC Carnival, we started with a launch party on the Wednesday, then Try Ignite the Thursday. We had brought a Cooler Fed, we brought a new event, Cooler Fed BYOB on the Friday. We had Zep on Saturday, and then we started the book ride on the Sunday. And in between that, we had some other little things there, but it was 10 events.
Wow.
In the space of 2 weeks. Primarily about seven in 1 week. And, very much like where, hooky life is right now. I've lived that, that is a mountainous feat. I give those guys stripes all the time for what they're doing. I would like to think that the things that myself and some of these other guys were doing in the early 2000s, have, given these guys and others that's out there right now that, that drive or that incentive to be doing what they're doing right now. I give all respect to all the promoters, the event coordinators, the food vendors, everybody in the DMV. It's doing events here is not easy. It's a very challenging landscape, and people here in the DMV hold you to a much higher standard than most places that you go to party. We're considered a market, just like New York or Miami. While our population here, or size in terms of events, be a little bit smaller, they're still very impactful. Events are on a certain scale and level as well. You'll find, different types of events from Trinidad and Jamaica and, other places wanted to do events here in the DMV, to say that, to touch here and to touch our audience. Because we have a big traveling audience here. A lot of people from the DMV travel for carnival and carnival events.
That's true. But one thing I want to add, and I didn't, like I said, I spoke to Arthur this week. One thing I will give you guys credit for, and a lot of people may or may not know this, but I know this from experience being in media. A lot of artists that's in Trinidad, one of the first time coming to the DMV area, you're the guys that bring them. For the voice. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you could call them up, but I know for a fact. I know that for a fact. But a lot of time, first time, you guys,
I will say that really started, even before me, even before I came on the scene, Knock Boys, Arthur, his team, they were really like I would say the the real starters of that whole thing, bringing things from home, live bands, orchestras and stuff like that, and different artists to be able to give that feeling of home and stuff like that here. And I've worked with, I would say, every artist at home. I've brought all of them here at some point in time in my tenure here in the DMV. Both still here, some that have passed, some that are still new. I've worked with a lot of them.
Yes. Now I'm gonna piggyback a little bit, man. When you mentioned doing like 7 to 10 events in 1 week, how does that process work for the average person or somebody who's looking to get into the promotion space? Obviously, they wouldn't start at that level, but the coordination, pulling those many events in one stretch.
I would tell you that at least 4 to 5 months out of the year was not mine at all.
Okay.
So even though those events were happening in June, planning was starting from December, the year before. As soon as Christmas is done in Trinidad, we jump into that carnival season. It's making sure that you, as soon as I say, Christmas is done, you jump into that carnival season. Half of us are actually even going home to participate, to play mass and whatever. But from that time, from really December, January, it's pace coming all the way down. And as soon as the weather breaks, as soon as most people come back from Trinidad Carnival, in the middle to the end of February, that's where our events start. Because aside from the 7 events that that we have in June, we were doing events, to get people ready coming down to June. So we had post-carnival relief, we had Soaking City, we had different things coming down the line, at least once, twice a month before June. Getting things prepared and ready. It takes a lot of planning.
Yes.
It takes a lot of preparation. If I know what I know now, if I knew then, with social media and the advancements in technology, I think who knows where I would be, but that's just how life is. If I had a chance to go back, I would probably do everything almost the same, because back then it was fun. It was engaging, going out with flyers and you're meeting people and you're engaging, you're traveling. I used to travel to Trinidad. I still do, travel a lot for this and that and Borrowday and different things around, just to keep up with it. I always had I got, as some of us would say, I got stung with that bug. I just couldn't not get into some type of event in terms of the planning and the execution of it. There's a thrill behind putting together something and actually seeing it come to fruition and seeing hundreds of people or thousands of people, enjoying your event or your concept and stuff like that. It's very satisfying. I like to see people have fun. And, for us as immigrants here, we like to party. We need that release. We need that distraction, from everyday family, the wife, the husband, this, that, together. Sometimes you just need that getaway,
Yeah, true. So obviously a lot has changed over the years, especially with the pricing of production and so forth. In space. How you guys have been able to maintain production costs and keeping that price relatively competitive?
So that's a very tricky question. So after speak to like before COVID and after COVID. Before COVID, obviously costs, looking back now is very different to now. And before COVID, where I would say, we were in 5th gear lightning speed, we always had and still have a lot of good relationships with vendors and artists and people that are in production or in entertainment. One of the things that makes it gives you that longevity in this business is relationships. Having and maintaining good relationships, is key. Having the good relationships, fosters good business. So with good business, you will continue to be successful. You will, continue to grow, and maintain, a certain level and standard of work that you're putting out. COVID, with everything, which was such a, how to describe COVID. You never thought the world would stop.
Yeah.
That was rough for everybody. We could sit down and talk about COVID all day, but I took the time to really think about where and what I want to take things. And coming out of COVID and having to reinvent yourself and being staying relevant has been a challenge. Like I said, I've been doing this next year will be 20 years.
Yeah.
With DC Carnival Experience, and these type of events 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure that whatever I'm doing now still maintains a certain level of presentation, performance, quality, because I try to put, always try to put the customer first. What would I want? I always ask that, what would make sense for me? So I always try to put that on the forefront anytime I'm doing anything. And with anyone I'm working with. And again, coming out of COVID, that's those same relationships and maintaining those things is what honestly still has me here. Admittedly, don't do as many events as I would have previous before COVID. Still in the game, still, doing a lot more behind the scenes. Doing a lot of consulting and production. One of the things that I had started concentrating on after COVID actually was Carnival Nation, which is the philanthropic arm of DC Carnival, which is more community-based events, free festivals, that type of more ages type events.
So those are events typically at in Silver Spring.
Show that we did with Nyla was also family friendly.
Yeah.
We have one coming up at 4th of July weekend, which is with Patrice, which is all ages as well. Just trying to be able to include everybody, not just the as I say, the partiers.
Yeah.
We have older folks as well as the young folks that want to see these arts, especially when it comes to live entertainment. Live entertainment is very different than just the partying. Seeing artists and vocalists and live bands and instruments and stuff like that has been a little bit of more of a focus for me as well. It's still very much so relevant, and I think as I said, I've done almost every event you could think of here in the DMV and outside the DMV.
Yeah.
So, I'm always looking for that challenge, something different, something unique. And, hopefully I'll be here for a little bit longer, but I like what has come out from COVID. The guys that are now doing events that are pumping, in the DMV are multifaceted. We have a lot of not just promoters or event coordinators. We have DJs, a lot of DJs, and a lot of influencers doing events. And very good events as well too. That is keeping the stock value high in the DMV. So I think we have a lot to be proud of here in the DMV when it comes to Caribbean or international entertainment.
Yes,
for sure.
For sure. You mentioned influencers and of course other promoters. What's your take on some may say, or the critics say, call names. They will say within the promoters here in the DMV, it seemed to be more a competitive spirit than actually trying to work together. But what's your take on that?
That has always been up and down roller coaster, especially when I came into the game as well too. I think it's just sometimes, I would say all the promoters, and I don't even like the word promoters. Promoters, I think we're cultural ambassadors.
Okay.
Really, is what I would like to call us, because, at times people think that, there is at times a lot of financial, gain and return, but not always. It's just a lot of sweat equity that you put in. You don't always get the same thing back, but a lot of times, most, if not all, do it for the culture, do it for the satisfaction of being able to, give people that feeling and that nostalgia. I think it's just that a lot of the folks in the DMV sometimes find it hard to have everybody see their vision,
Yes.
or see, what they kind of want out of it. That has just been a challenge. That has been a challenge across the board. Some kind of work. I have seen guys who would have never worked together, work together now, or vice versa. We go through a lot of different cycles, and a lot of this has to also do with, where you are in life. Sometimes everybody gets to that point where they feel that, they don't need anything or they don't need anybody, and they can do it all on their own. I think that's not the best, way of thinking to be able to continue the growth. And overall, just with the Caribbean culture here, I think we have always had that problem. We like to party together, but we don't always like to do business together. I think, or I would say sometimes we just don't know how. Sometimes we probably just don't know how to approach,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all know each other.
Yes.
We all know each other. We all know each other's families. We all work sometimes in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's, I think sometimes it's just putting the right, meeting up with people at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
To foster, camaraderie, so that you can say, hey, let's put our minds together, let's do this, and what I like to see at some point, that if, every single, DJ and event coordinator, or, the guys that do events come together and do something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's somewhere on the horizon.
Okay.
But I think, DC is it's a very political town. It's very different from New York, or Miami. There's a lot of politics here that influence people to whether they believe that they could work together or not.
Okay.
So all that to say,
it's possible.
I think it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. It's possible. Something that I have tried. I've been successful.
Yeah.
With some, unsuccessful with others. I am to this day very much so open.
The ones you say you were unsuccessful with others. What would you say was the reason? The difference of opinion, or?
Yeah, I would say, I would say this. Sometimes I look down the road, and for me, it's sometimes better to own or to have 10% of something than 100% of nothing.
Okay.
So it means that you have to be willing to share. You have to be willing to, sometimes put aside your egos and work together, work towards something. I treated this very much so, this whole entertainment thing, with a certain level of respect.
Yes.
As a business, not a get rich quick thing.
Yeah, fast money, a hustle.
Yeah, as a hustle. And I mean, it is in a sense a hustle, yes, but when it comes to giving folks or patrons something at a certain level or certain standard, always use myself as a measuring stick. Like, would I want this? Would I pay for this? Would I be satisfied with this? And I wouldn't want to give someone something that I wouldn't want myself. I want to do something. So, I always, as I say, try to keep that in the back of my brain. As I said, I'm always open to collaboration and fair collaboration as well, both giving and receiving.
Yeah. We have collaborated in the past.
Yeah. You know, and not just collaboration here in DC, collaboration outside of DC. I think, and I will definitely stand up here for, all the folks in the DMV. We don't always get the same returns from, folks coming from outside the city that coming in to do things or to do events compared to, in other places. Again, politics. There's a lot of politics behind that.
Tired of coming home to a mess? Sick of your office looking like a disaster zone? Say hello to MNS Pro Clean LLC. We're not just cleaners, we're mess-busting superheroes. From stubborn stains to dusty corners, we tackle it all. Our team swoops in with eco-friendly products and state-of-the-art equipment, leaving your space spotless. Whether it's your cozy apartment or bustling office, we've got you covered. No job too big, no grime too tough. Imagine walking into a sparkling clean space without lifting a finger. That's the MNS Pro Clean Magic. Don't waste another minute scrubbing. Call us now, 443-509-9418, and experience the Pro Clean difference. Your future self will thank you. MNS Pro Clean, where cleanliness meets excellence.
Hi guys, PSA Baltimore, Washington, One Love. Caribbean Carnival 2025. Save the date. Sat July 12th and Sunday, July the 13th at Druid Hill Park, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Picture this, 2 days of non-stop Caribbean vibes. Parade of bands, festival featuring live entertainment by local and international artists and DJs, arts and crafts, Caribbean food, lots more. We're talking vibrant live music, including steel bands that will guarantee to make you move with the tastiest island flavors. It's the ultimate celebration of Caribbean culture, bringing the heat from the islands to the streets of Bmore. Don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. One people, one love, one carnival. www.baltimorecarnival.org.
Hey, DMV, is your car giving you trouble? Look no further than MB Auto Repair LLC. They are not just fixing cars, they are reviving dreams on wheels. From mysterious engine noises to stubborn transmissions, their expert, certified, and experienced mechanics tackle it all. From oil changes and maintenance, brake service, tire service, etc., affordable pricing with transparent quotes. That's the MB Auto difference. They are fast, reliable, and honest. Don't let car troubles stall your life. Swing by MB Auto Repair LLC. Your vehicle deserves the best, and so do you. MB Auto Repair LLC, your car's new best friend in the DMV. Call today 410-444-0500.
That has given us here a certain amount of thick skin, because believe me, if you could do events here or throw events here or be successful in DC or DMV, you could go anywhere and do it and be successful.
That's a big statement, man.
I think so, because it's not an easy market. While as I say, I've known of entities and folks who have come to DMV thinking that it's easy. Or, as I say, come in to grab that bag here, and knowing people, never coming back or running with their tail in between their leg, because it's a different, DMV is that town, it's more than just who you know, it's who knows you, and relationship and political, standing and footing here says a lot, that professional etiquette, I think we have that here. You don't hear about promoters fighting and shooting and stabbing. I've never heard of anything like that here. They get vexed with each other and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the DC is class under the
Yeah. I've never even heard any promoters cussing out each other or anything like that. Because as I say, all of us know each other.
Yeah,
all of us know each other on some level, or family knows the other person's family. You know what I mean? It's
not connected. We are connected.
Very much so. But that's a good segue that he went into there. I hope that the guys that are coming up right now, the guys that are in it right now, they take stock and try to work with the guys that have been here and pioneering it and bring new things to the table and so that everybody could work together.
Yeah. Well, I'm very, very hopeful, you know, that could come to fruition. All right. So of course, hey, time is ticking, man. We're already approaching July. DC Carnival Experience 2020-25, of course, kicking off. So you got this year. You had 4 events, right? I said
Yes.
that from July the 3rd all the way up to July the 6th.
Yes.
The, Hello DC Welcome Party. That's a rooftop event. And then Friday at Howard Theater, you got world famous Patrice Roberts. Then of course the Saturday 3 to 9 p.m. we got the Beach Line for the big boat ride on Sunday at Misha. So let's talk about Hello DC, and I know you're big on the since I've known you, you're a big fan of the rooftop events,
So this year, usually for these events that we have, it's really in celebration. We're in June, so it's Caribbean Heritage Month, and these events on 4th of July weekend is finale of Caribbean American Heritage in the DMV. So each year, we kind of, especially since after COVID, we have some type of theme, some idea of being able to celebrate Caribbean Heritage Month and the weekend, doing it on 4th of July weekend as well, which is Independence weekend here. So this year came a little bit different, a little futuristic. It's called Into the Socaverse, where the whole idea is we're trying to transport folks into a different realm, and in that realm you're a soca hero.
Okay.
But a soca hero, meaning that you can withstand any type of event. You could party for as long as you think that you can, and we're giving you that opportunity to do that for 4 days. 4 different events, starting with the welcome party on Thursday night. That's going to be Space Rooftop. That's a partnership with Barry Hype. Shouts to Barry Hype for bringing his Hello event to the DMV area.
Okay.
This year and every year we try to feature different out of town upcoming DJ. This year it's Brandon Duke out of Canada, the young upcoming major DJs, on the scene right now, along with DMV's own DJ Akil, Majestic, and all hosted by Barry Hype on the Thursday. So that is your welcome to DC. Welcome to into the Socaverse for the weekend. It's gonna be vibes. It's gonna be at Space Rooftop, and you can get your drinks on. That's from 9 p.m. Until 2 a.m. And right now, I believe that we still have a couple of, and the thing is, we try to be very conscious that, it's a weekend of events.
Yeah.
Right now you can get on a guest list for the event, get in before a certain time, before the pump really starts for the weekend. So, I would tell people, to go to dccarnival.com, try to see if, you can get on our guest list. Free entry before 10 o'clock on Thursday. The Friday, we always usually do some type of show.
Yeah.
So this is going to be at Howard Theater. We're actually bringing back one of our original show concepts.
Yes.
We've done big events under that brand for DC Carnival weekend. This year we're doing Patrice, the 18 band trilogy, and Full Blown.
Yes.
It's going to be a very, very big show.
I love the date that fell on too.
Yeah, it's 4th of July, so it's a big celebration, and that's gonna and it's a show, so come early. Doors open at 7, and it's at 8, and it's a full band show.
Yes, wow.
Full band show with Patrice Roberts, 18 band, and of course Full Blown. The young superstars, that really did their thing this year.
Yep.
And trilogy. And on Saturday during the day we have Lime And it's beach theme this year. It's called Beach Line with Friends. And this is just day party is just gonna be full of vibes. It is just all energy, all DJs. This is now, bringing back. He hasn't been here in so long. DJ Private Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Did you and Private Ryan went to school together, I believe?
We were in the same year, or I think it was a year or two ahead of him, but we have a lot of the same mutual friends from home. He and I go way back, way back, even before he became, Private Ryan, like that. Brought him to the DMV for the first time for Howard Homecoming event. I never forget that. And that was the same night that Marshall came to town as well too.
Okay. Wow.
Up against that with Marshall, with Private Ryan. And I mean, it was just a DJ party and it rocked out, and been working with him ever since. Yeah. So he's gonna be back here in the DMV. A lot of people have been requesting him to come back in the DMV. So we have him for the weekend. He's gonna be at Beachline, and he's also gonna be at Amnesia. Amnesia is that boat ride. Has sold out every year for the past 10 plus years. Every year.
Yeah.
So legendary event.
Let me ask you this, man. Why is only one boat ride in the DMV every year? I ain't gonna say DMV. Easy.
A lot of people ask me that, and there used to be a lot of boat rides. There used to be a lot, boat rides out of Baltimore and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it obviously has to do a lot with the cost. It's not for the faint at heart at all. You would think that there are a lot of marinas here. There's a lot of different types of boats, but a lot of the boats or the boat events here are very different. Very more corporate, and we developed such a great relationship with the Cherry Blossom, that it continues to happen to now. As I said, is a lot of it is relationships, So hopefully this year it's not probably going to be the only boat ride. I'm hoping to do something else, later on in the year. But this boat ride, if anybody has been on it, can tell you it's vibes from time you walk on, the time you come off. It's premium all inclusive.
Yes.
Free food and drinks for 3 hours, straight pump, no sleep, no sitting, all vibes.
Yeah, well, I could definitely testify to that, man. I mean, that's why I said, why we gotta wait a whole year to participate in it? I feel good, man.
People, like, even before the year turn, people just ask me, like, when is the date? Like, they put it down on the calendar from, like, 6 months ahead of time.
Yeah, them tickets go by fast, man. I'm surprised.
Yeah. So I would advise you and anybody else, jump on that. Still have, some tickets there, but they are moving, probably by next week we'll be done. That's always the first thing to go.
Yeah.
And, so.
Well, definitely looking forward to the events, man. Of course, you guys, I don't know how you guys do it, man, but you guys do it. Top premier events. If you have never been, trust me. Like I said, Jason, man, I've been, we have known each other for quite some time, of course, in the media space. And I'm so happy that you guys, over the years, through all the challenges, you guys still keep pushing forward and bringing great events to the DMV. I guess I can speak for myself and the patrons in the DMV and beyond. I just want to say I appreciate it. And
I appreciate the patronage. I appreciate folks still, coming out, young and old, to these events. As long as I'm able to, I'll continue doing so for folks here in the DMV. So, I invite everybody to check us out, dccarnival.com. Check out the events. If you need any information, you can email us at events@dccarnival.com, or you can give us a call, 240-855-2094. We'll be happy to help.
Nice. Well, before we leave, man, there's one last part. I always enjoy this part of the segment. So there's a book called 2,000 Questions About Me. So obviously, I wouldn't ask myself the question. So I'm going to refer the question to you. Asking you pick a number from 1 to 2,000. It could be the question that will be asked in the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 1 to 2,000.
Let's go with question 1980.
Wow, 1980. Why 1980, man? That was so specific. 1980. Okay. 1980. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Have you
I have gotten, and believe it or not, a car.
really?
Yes, I bought.
Wait, this had to be a classic
I
car,
was
man.
listen. I was right out of college,
Okay, great.
and I bought my first car on eBay, man, on eBay
Yeah.
Motors, and it was bidding war for that. Never forgot that. Yep.
So did you get the car or not?
Yeah, I did.
Did you move out?
Yeah, it was what was it? It was a 1998 Dodge Neon, all
Wow.
black, shift, swooped up, rims, all of that stuff, So yeah, it was from this car was in Florida.
Man, I've never heard someone brought a car on eBay Motors before, but hey, I gotta
Yeah, it's a thing, man. When was this? This was almost 20 years ago, actually.
yeah.
This was like 2006 and 7 when I bought that car.
Well, I gotta be able to do you a favor, man. Well, Jason, man, much appreciation for taking time out to busy schedule. Much appreciation. Of course, all the best moving forward 2025 and beyond. And of course, man, DC Carnival weekend, pumping.
Thank you so much, and continue doing this great work, man. I had a good time talking to you. Hope to continue, coming on here and seeing, other folks, giving their feedback and thoughts, and continue the good work.
Well, I definitely appreciate it, man. And you know what? You mentioned Kid Mix, man, and I think I might have to reach out to Kid Mix because I never knew he was one of the original, founders of
Original founders of Basement Records, yes. Big DJ of the Tortola, long before he got into the photography and videography and stuff like that,
Yeah.
He's been one of those guys that has been reinventing himself for a long time.
Yeah.
And so don't sleep on Lester. He's I'm telling you, he's one of those OGs, man. Like, for sure.
All right, Jason, man. Much appreciation. All right,
man. You have a good night.
Good night.
And that's a wrap on another episode of AlonzoBash Podcast. If you're loving the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Your reviews mean the world to us, so take a moment to leave one if you can. It really helps us grow and reach more awesome listeners like you. Speaking of awesome, share this podcast with your friends and family. Now here's a little treat for you. Use the code BASH for 10% off your next purchase from any of our amazing sponsors. You can find their details in our episode descriptions. Until next time, as Alonzo would say, stay focused on your goals and dreams. See you on the next episode.
Nobody come in here to save you. You gotta free yourself when you hear the freedom bell. And nobody in here could brace you. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Call me hero. Soon as I reach the dance, bad vibes on zero. National hero. Soon as I reach the dance, conduct on zero.